Hey, replay viewers, this is Tim David, and in this broadcast, we are going to learn how to grab more speaking gigs. You see, I learned a lesson from my children this weekend. I want to share that with you and apply it to the speaking business. So it was Mother's Day this past weekend in a lot of countries around the world, but here in the United States as well. And we went to my brother's house to celebrate. My mother has moved to Florida. This is the first Mother's Day where she has been away, and she drove all the way back in an RV camper to be with her sons on Mother's Day. Oh, so nice to see her again. But all the cousins were together, and we were having a great cookout, having a great time. My daughter, my 14-year-old daughter said, "Daddy, can we play Up for Grabs?" Now, if you don't know, my 14-year-old daughter, anytime she wants to do something that's not on her phone, I will accept. I love it. It's an outside physical activity. Let's play like kids. Absolutely. So the game works like this. I throw a Nerf football high in the air. All the kids cluster underneath it, and one kid tries to catch it. They all try to catch it. One kid does catch it. Do you see the parallels here between Up for Grabs and the speaking business? Right? It's like all these footballs are up in the air and all these speakers are clustered and huddled and clawing and fighting and jumping and trying to catch a football and then trying to catch the next football and get the next gig and the next gig and the next gig. Oh, pick me, throw it over here to me. Please, 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 can I have a gig? Now I'm going to tell you a subset of what's going on here in the Up for Grabs game, because I have a 6-year-old son who can't compete. He's shorter, he's smaller, he can't really catch very well. So what we did was we had him up front with a smaller football, and I would underhand toss to him in between these launches of a throw with the bigger football. So the first question I have for you is this: which football are you going after? Which gigs are you trying to catch? Because listen, there are different levels of gigs, different sizes of footballs, different playgrounds with different kids playing in those playgrounds. And if you want the big footballs, why not go after the big footballs? So that's the first lesson. There are different levels and different opportunities. You might as well position yourself in a place to make a catch, and a big catch that'll last maybe longer than, having to immediately start looking for the next gig, right? So that's the first takeaway, the first lesson. Now let's leave Max, my son, off to the side for a little while. Let's talk about the rest of the kids. And there was, 6 or 7 of them. And, here's the thing. The bigger kids, the taller kids, the stronger kids naturally would catch more footballs than the people who are smaller and weaker and less coordinated. Right? So let's correlate that to the speaking business. You can imagine there are some speakers who are just taller and stronger and have better hands. They have better websites, better demo videos. They've written New York Times best-selling books. They're on the first page of Google when people type in their key phrase. There are a whole bunch of ways for speakers to become taller and stronger, more visible, more likely to make those catches. However, that was before COVID. Right? Before COVID, it was like kids were playing Up for Grabs with a bunch of Shaquille O'Neals or Dennis Rodmans or Randy Mosses in their prime. People who are bigger and stronger and just great at catching things. So, you know what? The playing field has been leveled. You've heard that being said. You've heard it said that COVID has leveled the playing field in the speaking industry. What does that mean? That means this. Shaquille O'Neal, Dennis, they're all injured. They're all injured. They're retired. They're not in the game anymore. COVID took them out, either made them irrelevant because their topics are no longer relevant, either made them irrelevant because their style is no longer relevant, because maybe they can't do streaming or hybrid. Maybe they can't do virtual. So they're out of the game. And many of the speakers literally said, I don't want to do it. I don't want to. I'm too comfortable in the way that it was. I'm going to wait until it goes back to the way that it was, and they become irrelevant. So that's the good news for the smaller, weaker, shorter speakers out there. The huge giants of speakers, they're no longer in the game, right? Many of them are just gone. So that's takeaway number one. Takeaway number one is get in the game, right? Get in the game. Try to see if you can catch these speaking gigs. Number two, it's not just about how big and strong you are. but it's also about how good you are. You see, there were a lot of kids where the ball I might throw right to them, but they didn't have the hands, right? It might go in and out of their hands. They might drop it. And what a shame if a speaking opportunity fell to you right in your hands, right in your lap, and you didn't have the systems in place. You didn't have the savvy. You didn't have the techniques. You didn't have the ability. You didn't know how to seal that deal. And the gigs that are coming to you falling through the cracks. You're sending out proposals and call for proposals, and they're just not coming back. You're having the opportunities, but you're not cashing in on them. Maybe it's free gigs, that you're only getting. Maybe you're not able to catch those paid gigs. So that's the first, that's the next takeaway is fix your leaky bucket, have better, practice catching, right? For when they do come to you, make sure you can catch them. Incidentally, by the way, this is not Stigmata. This is me trying to compete with the 17-year-old kids, and then I fell down. So on the pavement, that's what that is. Don't worry about it. So here's the deal. I'm okay. I'm fine. So that's a big takeaway, right? That's a big takeaway is it's not just how good and how strong, but it's not just how tall and how strong and how big you are, but it's also how good you are. So have those systems in place. Make sure that you can catch the gigs that come to you. You do not want to start pouring a bunch of water into a bucket that has a bunch of holes in it, right? Fix the holes. Make sure you can catch the gigs that come to you. Lastly, and this is my favorite, the really good, it's okay to be good. It's okay to be tall and strong, but it's better to be smart. The kids who were smart walked away with the most catches. There was one kid in particular who was really, really smart. And she knew that I would throw the ball and I would try to get it into the hoop. More often than not, there was a basketball hoop nearby. I would try to get it into that hoop, and the really smart kid positioned herself in such a way that she would be near the group, right? But she'd also kind of be a little bit off to the side, a little positioned in such a way where if that throw happened to go in that direction, she would have a beat on it. She would have the first step towards that ball. And of course, it would be an easy catch because she'd be there all alone. How are you positioned in the speaking business? You don't want to be, so different that you're so far away from any throws, right? You want to be in the area, but you want to be positioned in a way where you're still unique, still different, and still having a great chance of coming down with that ball. If you're so different that you're behind me, the ball's never going to go there. If you're 2 neighborhoods down the road, I'm never going to reach it, right? I'm never going to throw it that far. But if you are positioned properly, if you are in a place where the gigs are going and you are positioned differently. So we talk about this I have a new course coming out called Your Signature Speech. We talk about the 2 things that you need to be positioned properly. You need to have something that people want and need. Okay. So that's being in the vicinity. That's being in the same neighborhood, in the same area. But you also have to solve a problem in a way that maybe they didn't expect, in a way that might be counterintuitive, in a way that might be unique, but not so different that they don't get it, right? So it's like a blending. It's like taking what they want and solving it with your secret sauce, right? Taking their problems and addressing them with your expertise. That is how you differentiate yourself and position yourself while still being in the game. So that was the email that I sent out today. That is the live stream that I'm doing for you as part of this, 77-day live stream challenge that Darren LaCroix laid out for us. And I don't know if anybody's watching this. I don't know if people are going to comment on this, if this is going to resonate with people, but I will tell you this, I'm going to keep doing it. And, I only have a few minutes left until we do this. I'm doing a sort of a small coaching group, and we got to get started on that. But I do want to tell you about this course. I do want to let you know that the link will be below. I'm not going to spend any time right now. You can check out the link for the course that helps you properly position yourself. If you find that you are not catching a lot of speaking gigs, if you're not coming down with the ball, if you're not getting those paid gigs, it might not be because you're not the tallest or the strongest. It might not be because you're not the best and have good hands. It might be a positioning thing. It might be a packaging thing. It might be the way in which you are aligning yourself and your expertise with what they want in a way that's unique and different, but not so different, right? So that might be the difference maker for you. And if you head over to that website, there'll be the, information on what it takes to become a highly booked speaker and to have a highly bookable speech. Because I'll tell you this, a great speech, the one that gets the high fives and the handshakes pre-COVID, the one that gets the standing ovations and the applause even in the chat room, the one that moves people to tears and laughter and joy and all of the emotions, the great speech isn't necessarily a highly bookable speech. Different metrics, different things that people are looking for. You can have a highly bookable speech that's also great, right? But you can also have a great speech that isn't very bookable. So with that in mind, check out the link for your signature speech. We'll be talking more and more about this course as the launch approaches. But for now, I'm going to sign off and join my group coaching program. We'll speak soon.